Hi, this is Megan with Beadaholique, and today I'm going to show you how to do a captured bead chainmail weave. So I'm doing one that uses 10mm 18 gauge open jump rings, just a regular silver plate, and I'm using 8mm round beads. I did also try this with a 6mm round bead and an 8mm jump ring. That one was a 19 gauge. So as far as getting the beads to fit in there, just from my limited experimentation that I did, I found that if you had 2 or 3 millimeters of size difference between your bead and the jump ring, that seemed to work pretty well. The faceted beads only need a couple of millimeters. I'm going to show you how to do it with these Swarovski Elements gemstone faux pearls, and since they don't have facets, it's a little tighter. It will still work with a 2mm difference, but it's a little bit less fluid, the end result. You also want to be careful that you don't do too much of a difference between the size of your bead and your jump ring, or else your beads could just fall out. So it's one of those tricky chainmail things where you might just need to experiment a little bit, but in general, if you have 2 or 3 millimeters difference, it should work. So this is actually pretty quick and easy as far as chainmail goes. And it's pretty cool because the beads, nothing goes through the bead. So it's just captured, it's just held inside the rings. So to start, I opened all of my big jump rings. I'm also using 2 smaller jump rings for the beginning and the end. You can see I did that in this one too. You could use 1. I just like the way that 2 look with this particular weave. So I'm going to start by taking 2 smaller jump rings that aren't open and placing them on one of the larger jump rings and closing it up. Will save you a lot of time if you open all your jump rings first with this one. And then place another large jump ring in your smaller jump rings. And that's going to be the end there. Then you're going to put 2 rings into that last pair here. All the jump rings you use now until the end will be the larger size. It's just all one size for the main part of this. So you'll put another ring in. All right, now you're going to take your small rings at the end and try to hold on to those. And you'll have 2 sets of 2 rings above them. The first set of rings, you're going to put 1 to either side. Then you're going to open out that next set so that you have 2 going this way and 2 going this way. Take your bead, place it in the middle. Ooh, it can be tricky. Then you're going to close those rings back around your bead. So you'll have 1 set hugging the bottom part of the bead and 1 set hugging the top part of the bead. And now you take another ring and you're going to catch both of the top rings in this one and close it up. And then you add the second one. Every layer goes on in sets of 2. You always have 2 rings through 2 rings. So you'll always place 1 and then place another one right beside it. So you'll do 2 sets of 2 before you do every bead. So you're going to take the last 2 you added, hold them together, and do another layer on top of that. And again, you're going to add a second ring right beside the last one. And then you're going to hold on to the piece you have and open out your rings. Place the bead down and then pull the rings up. And here, the top rings might get stuck inside the bottom 2 from before. Just lift it out. You'll want these 2 to be outside these ones from before so that they can open out at the bottom. hold that in place and go through both of those top rings with a new ring. Close it up. And you're going to always place the second ring right beside the first. And then put your next ring through those last two. And place another one right beside that one. Okay, when you have your two groups of two rings, open them out, one, and then the second one. Place your bead in the middle and close them back up over the bead. Catch both rings with a new ring. And I'll show you just one more time. It's really pretty simple once you get the hang of it. Put your second ring right side by side with that first one. And then you're going to grab both of the last two with a new ring. And then add the next one right next to it. And then you'll open them both out. Add the bead. So you have to lift a little sometimes. Close it up. And to end, all you're going to do is you're going to add two rings at the end just like at the beginning, or just one if you want for this one. It's just going to be a smaller ring. I've got them sitting open ready because I knew I wanted to use them that way. So you could use just one. I'm going to go ahead and add in a second one. And you can just add your findings, your clasp, whatever you want to use to finish your piece, just right onto those jump rings there. And you can see that with the non-faceted beads, it's a little bit less fluid than with the faceted beads because they're a little larger, but it is still pretty flexible. So it still definitely works with non-faceted.